What's up, guys? It's your boy King David. I'm back at it with another video. In this video, I'm going to talk about what I usually talk about, retention journey, and I'm going to talk about science, and we're going to talk about the reasons why there are no studies done on retention, guys. I think personally is because they want weak men, and I do think that there's not very many studies, also because men don't retain for long enough, guys. How many guys do you know personally, if you want to leave a comment or whatnot, how many guys do you know that retain for more than 2 weeks, more than a month? You know what I mean? How many guys really retain for more than 2 months? You know, I don't really know anybody that personally that I know of has retained for over 2 months. So where are you going to find the guys to do the studies with, right? And then if you think about it also, there is only one study that's done with I think 90 guys, right? And it's only 15 of the men were fertile, and the maximum amount of days that they were retaining for was like 11 days. Now this doesn't include that they weren't like, this is back in like, I think like 2006 or something like that. Obviously they probably weren't watching like videos and stuff back then, guys, but they could have been, you know what I mean? And then you have to think that it's just like there's only one study really done. Like the only study I've ever been able to find on retention is one study, guys. One study. Maybe there's two other out there, but I haven't seen, like, there's like the one study says that your testosterone increases 145%, guys, on day 7. Then it drops back down to baseline. People believe, I've heard Ross say that it goes that the testosterone increases your androgen receptors. I've heard from other content creators over the years, but this is way back then, and it makes sense, guys, that your androgen receptors in your brain start to heal, so the testosterone is readily available easier. These things, obviously they're not from people who are doctors, but if you really, I mean, well, except for the one study that's like 145%, right, in testosterone, it's from an actual doctor, guys. But if you think about retention, and you think about the studies, guys, and you think about just realistically why they wouldn't do that, it's because there's nothing for them to gain money-wise, right? They don't want guys to be these super masculine men nowadays in general, so if you're doing retention, you become more man, like more manly, so they don't necessarily want to do studies on things like that. But if you think about it, guys, where are they going to find guys who retain long enough? Where are they going to find guys who are going to go 90 days, guys? In this day and age, they have to find a guy who doesn't watch the videos, obviously, because that would be a part of the challenge too. Well, not even a challenge, that would be a part of these studies, right? Like you would want to make sure their brain's not aroused for 90 days, basically. Most of the days, not 90 days in total, but most of the days they're not aroused, and then they end up releasing. When people say like science says this or that, guys, like I've said before, if there's only 1 or 2 studies done on something, like if they had one study on apples are bad for you. Eating apples are horrible for you. There's only one study. You know, and so many people eat apples. Would you believe that one study is saying, like, are you just going to solely believe on science and just say apples are just bad to eat? Are you going to study it maybe more, a couple times, you know? I think the reason why it's not also studied is because a lot of guys don't want to come out and be like, or not even come out with it, but just a lot of guys don't want to to retain that long, guys. Like, a lot of guys don't want to retain because they don't see any benefits in it to begin with, and they never even thought about it. Like me, I didn't think about retention before I found retention. And so just knowing about it is a blessing in itself, guys. Like, now obviously retention isn't everything, guys. Yeah, there's benefits to it. Yeah, there's abilities that you're going to get. There's things that you're going to be able to see that other people can't see spiritually, right? You get spiritual gifts that other people won't get in their lives, and they won't understand the perspective that you have towards certain things because they live more in a materialistic world. And as it becomes more spiritual, this world, people will understand the reasons why to retain. Most guys think, oh, don't retain, have kids, have family, right? So if you're a guy who's like, dude, no, I'm not going to have kids, I'm not going to have a family, I'm going to retain, I'm not going to release, they're not going to understand that concept because they believe that goes against nature. But in reality, that's going with nature. The world's backwards, guys. The world's been backwards for a long time. We know a lot of these things are backwards. You know what I mean? It's all about money, money, money. If you get what I'm saying, guys, like, it's about money in terms of science studies. It's about promoting the bad stuff for you more than the good things for you. You have to search for good things to watch nowadays. Even the movies that they promote, guys, are usually bad movies. Like, they're not like, it's usually like a scary movie or something like evil that they show in front of you. A lot of these things, the world is totally backwards. It's bad, guys. Like, and if you're a more spiritual person and you're talking about not releasing, they're not going to understand that. They're like, why don't you have 3 or 4 or 5 kids? 5 kids, brother. Like, hey, that's you. But hey, I don't judge people. I'm just saying that it is a strange time that we live in, and people just they go off of what has been done already instead of thinking for themselves, right? So, guys, like, being just in this spiritual realm, and I mean being in this spiritual but physical realm, right? You start getting into the realities of why you should retain and what it does for you. And for me, like, it helps with your bones, helps with your joints, it helps with your mind, the clarity, helps with so many different things. But the hardest part about it, guys, like I've always said, like, the hardest part about retention is going the days, especially in the beginning. I think the reason why a lot of guys end up failing, especially from day 1 to 7, is the fail zone. A lot of guys fail before day 7. Why do they fail before day 7? It's because the ramp up in testosterone, like I was saying in the study, right? 145%, guys. Like, say if you were releasing every day, like, we'll just get into like a little like story time for a second here. You're releasing every day, and you're watching videos, so your dopamine receptors are just being burnt out. You're watching videos. You're also releasing, or maybe you're with your girlfriend, you're releasing every day. You see her, you guys are like hooked up most of the time, you're releasing, or you're at least releasing every week, like every weekend you're releasing with your girlfriend, right? So in those times that you are by yourself, there's a good chance you might end up releasing before you see your girlfriend, right? So to make it an entire week for the average guy is a difficult thing because they're not conscious of doing it oftentimes, right? You have to be conscious of not releasing, and you have to be conscious of the content that you're indulging in, or even just seeing, right? maybe you're not indulging in it, but it's just being in your face, right? You, like I talked about in the previous videos, like the social medias, guys, like if you're on social media, like there's a good chance you're gonna see some girl like in some yoga pants or something dancing in front of you. Like that's just gonna happen, guys. Like they promote it so much, like sexually, that it's almost impossible. And a lot of guys think that's normal. Like you're supposed to be a man, you're supposed to like look at that. It's like, look, guys, we just kind of got used to these phones and stuff, to be honest with you. Like 30, 40 years ago, we weren't really like so attached to these phones. We didn't have as much access to pictures of women that are extremely attractive, guys. Like I've said before, like we didn't have access like that. Like if you saw a beautiful woman in person, then okay, that's like some dopamine stimulation, and you might go up to her and you might talk, and then you get a stimulation from talking to her, hearing her voice in real life time, right? That's enough for you to go maybe even a couple weeks before you see another beautiful woman that you would talk to, right? Your phone, you can look up any girl, basically. You could even be on a dating site and be talking to different women, and it's like the access, the availability is so vast that you end up being desensitized to a lot of these things too, guys. So what I'm trying to get at, I like to ramble. I like to keep it raw and uncut, like I always say, guys. So I'm trying to remember the topic, guys. I think my topic was the reason why scientific studies are not done on retention. It's too easy to fall into the pit, man. It's too easy to not be a masculine man if there's so much of it in front of you. There's so much in front of you that you can watch and you can see that it becomes saturated. And for a man to go 90 days, he almost has to just kind of put the phone down. Which is the crazy part, right? You kind of almost have to like just turn your phone off, man, for a little while. Not forever, but maybe like a couple weeks, maybe a week or so. Delete the social medias. Turn your phone completely off, for at least a week. And then just retain. Read books. Get your dopamine from other sources, right? Go for a walk, skate, work out. Not at the gym, outside at the park where there's some kids and stuff. Okay, you see a girl, but that's like a little bit of dopamine. That's not like a crazy amount of dopamine as far as like looking at your phone. You get what I'm saying? Guys? I know this video is all over the place, and I kind of lost track of what I was talking about, but you kind of get the gist of what I'm saying, guys, is like the retention and studies and stuff like that. Maybe in the future they might do that, but don't count on it, guys. There's not enough guys that will retain for long enough, especially with all this content that's out here. And you gotta like be vigilant. It's a vigilant battle. That's why they say it's really a vigilant. It's like don't be so attached to these worldly desires, these fleshly desires in this world, guys. Like oftentimes we want to be with women, like I've said before, that are in these videos. But if you really think about yourself, right? Like this is a good one. I was thinking about this earlier today. Think about who you are, right? In this very moment. Think about the shape, like think about how well of fitness you're in. Think about your health. Think about, in terms of finances or like financial success, right? Think about where you stand, right? In society's view. Now think about the girl that you're looking at on Instagram. Like some of these girls on Instagram, I mean, these girls are like top tier. Like I've said, like these girls are like the most beautiful women you'll ever see, like on a phone in your entire life, guys. Like some of these women, you don't see those women in real life, right? You're never gonna probably see that woman in real life. So it's like you're talking about you're talking about a girl that's literally a 10, guys. Like a 10 in looks, just looks. Like let's not add personality or nothing like that. Like if we were to judge by numbers, guys, we're talking about a girl that has like a perfect figure and perfect face and yada 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 yada. We get the ideas, guys. Or you get the ideas, guys. Where do you see that in real life? I mean, where do you see that? So you're basically like stimulating your brain with something that that you ain't gonna see, maybe never in your life. I mean, you might see that person in real life, but it's exaggerated too sometimes, right? Like it's photoshopped and things like that. So it really messes with your mind. Like you're like, man, why can't I be with somebody like that? And then it kind of like makes you like look at yourself too. It's like, bro, like a lot of these guys, I'm being honest, I'm not judging nobody, but I'm just saying like a lot of guys are not in good like physical condition either. Like, are you even like a match with this person, right? Are you a stud? Is what I'm trying to say. Like, are you like 6'3", 256 pounds, 260 pounds of muscle? Are you a Dwayne Johnson? Are you somebody who's like jacked, right? Handsome, successful. Okay, if you're that, then yeah, for sure, you could have yourself a 10 out of 10 because you are like a 10 out of 10 to girl standards, right? So you got to realize like where it matches up and things like that. I know this video might sound like I'm bashing people or something like that, but reality like sets in and you kind of realize like there's so much potential in a lot of us. We have potential to attract some of these women, but realistically, like, realistically, a lot of guys don't do the work to get to that level of attracting a woman in that caliber. And the thing about it, guys, like it is all up to God. It is all up to grace. You know what I mean? But the thing about it is like when you're working on yourself. Hold on, I had something stuck in my teeth. When you're working on yourself, nobody cares, right? When you're in that stage of like building yourself up, you're like, okay, I'm gonna get this, or I'm gonna do this, or I'm gonna achieve this. When you're in that stage of building yourself up, a lot of times you're not talking to nobody. You're just like this ghost. Like you are ghosting people. Like you are transitioning. You're like a freaking... how can I put it? Like you're in like an egg, right, guys? I'm sorry. I couldn't think of nothing. Kind of exaggerated that a little bit or magnified that a little bit. You're like in an egg, man. You're going into a transition, man. Like and being in that transition stage, you start to realize that the process is the hardest part with retention, with your health, with financial gain, with whatever it might be. The transition is the hardest part because you're breaking free from your old identity and moving on to a new identity of yourself. So the old identity is going to try to pull you back towards what you were. You know what I mean? The new identity is unknown, but it's better for you. It's like the guy who's looked at as like average Joe. Okay, yeah, you're average Joe. Are you going to come to like acceptance of being an average Joe and just be average Joe for the rest of your life? Or are you going to transition to stud master? I guess stud master, hilarious, guys. I'm being ridiculous here, guys, but you see the point. becoming that individual is a lot of work. And a lot of times you can't tell nobody that you're becoming that person. You have to do the work in silence, and then when you finally have grown into that full product, like the product is finished, then that's when you get all the girls, man. And then by that time, it's like you're not even really tripping about most of these girls that are after you. You know what I mean, guys? Like, I'm not trying to be like arrogant or nothing, or cocky or nothing, guys. It's not about that. It's just, where were these girls when you were in your struggling state, right? A lot of guys forget that part. They're like, oh, I'm fresh, I'm fly now. It's like, yeah, that's good, but don't forget the past, right? Don't forget the part where, like, you were broke, you were driving the hoopty, you were freaking skinny dude who was trying to work out and eat protein powders, and you didn't have no tattoos, or you didn't have the physique that you wanted and desired. You didn't have the the money, the facial structure. You didn't have all these things that you wanted to have in the beginning. So that's like the growth. Like, that's the best part, is like, you have to look at the past and realize where you were and where you are now, especially if you're the finished product, and realize that just because you're the finished product, don't let it inflate your head, guys. Don't let it get too far, like being on retention. You've made it 90 days. You made it past 90 days, right? You're deep within retention. Now you got the physique. You got the 8-pack. You got the size on you. You got the hair's long and braided and clean looking, and your beard's nice and filled in, and you got all these women's attention. You're driving the Bentley. You get what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying, guys? Like, it's like the ones, once you get all that, that's when, you get a lot of hate. You got a lot of hate, and you get a lot of, like, attention from women, of course, because you're seen as a stud now. Like, you're seen as, like, successful in society's view. But hey, you know what I mean? Don't let it blow your head up, man. It takes time. A lot of times it takes a long time, and nobody really is going to get with you when you don't have it. You know what I mean? When you don't have it, you're unnoticeable. Like, girls are not going to mess with you as much. Like, you're unnoticeable. And then when you get to that caliber, guys, like, this is like the last thing I'm going to say. When you get to that caliber, those girls that were on you, those girls that weren't on you, oftentimes you're at a higher level than they are now. To be real. You're looking at them, you're like, damn, like, I really wanted that girl back then, or, you know what I mean? Maybe it wasn't like that, but it was like, I thought she was attractive, she was decent looking, but now you've upped your status, right? It's all about status in this world that we live in, this materialistic world. So if your status is high, you're like, you're looking fresher and better, and you're living better, and you're in a big house, and you have a nice vehicle, and you have everything, like, kind of made out, because God has given it to you, really, because God has blessed you. The same person that you were interested in, you might still be interested in them, but it's like the caliber of women that are after you are higher standard women. You know what I mean? It's like you upped your standard. Now you need, like, somebody that matches your level. You know what I mean? You need somebody who's kind of up there too. You need somebody who's gonna, look the part, is what they say, right? You need somebody who's driving a Bentley too, right? Maybe not a Bentley, but, a decent car, and they have the look, they have the image, they work out, they take care of themselves. You know what I mean? They eat healthy. They do what you do because they appreciate the same things as you appreciate, right? They had to grind to get there too, oftentimes. People that are already there, right, say, say if they already are like high status, right? And you come up and now you're high status, right? They might be interested in you, but you have to stay there for a while before they get interested in you. So I don't want to keep this or make this video too long, guys, but this is just realities of what I believe in. And you know, leave a comment if you think of it in any sort of other way. I know I was all over the place on this video. It's pretty hot. I feel like that's the reason why my brain's kind of like all over the place, guys. And you know, talk about in the next video, I'll talk about just retaining and also just some health things, like probably like some diet things, guys. And you know, peace out. It's getting too hot for me, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.